I'm here today with really one of the worst people I know, and I'll explain that. Like, if you knew this guy, you would say, this is the best person I know. I mean, it's amazing relationship. This guy's terrific, helps me out, learn a lot from him, really is a role model. But for me, it's weird because the same guy is the worst person I know. One man's ceiling is another man's floor. Introducing here, Rick Steele. Rick, say hi. Okay, thanks. So, here's the issue. Rick and I have known each other for a while, and we're really sort of bad for each other. Rick, not long ago, really amped up the athlete game. Now, I've been an athlete my whole life, but not this level. So Rick starts sending me these screenshots from his runs and his bike rides. Now, I run and bike ride, but not, I don't go for 60-mile bike rides at 4:30 in the morning. So now, and this is why he's bad, I'm happy in my little biosphere, the Truman Show. I live in the Truman Show, right? Southern California, coastal, nobody bothers me, I don't bother anybody. Now, these texts come through and go, hey, that 12-mile ride you took yesterday, check out my 80-mile ride I did in roughly the same amount of time. So that makes me feel bad about myself, right? And so then I start generating some content, and Rick's been generating content for a long time, and he goes, oh my God, that's real content. So he has to go spend a bunch of money to get his content level up to my content, right? And so now I'm like, okay, he's equaling me. So then I go buy a giant truck, right? And Rick already has a giant truck, but then I go, my giant truck is gianter than your giant truck. And so he goes out and this is a story for a different day, buys the same truck. So this is a very sort of semi-abusive, unhealthy relationship of one-upsmanship. And somebody is either going to die or go broke. Rick, good to talk to you today.
Welcome to the show. Hey, so that everything that you said is spot on 1,000%. And that's also, by the way, what I really appreciate in our friendship as well, too. On a serious note, yes, like it's that kind of sportsmanship and competitiveness that I believe every dude, every person needs in their life. So, and it's not about the money. It's not about the laps or the miles, even though today I did run base pace at 6 minutes and 50 seconds per mile for 6.5 miles. And today was an off day. But I don't want to go into the exact numbers today.
Oh yeah, and by the way,
heart rate.
By the way,
average heart rate.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's not bragging if you did it. Is that right? Is that
exactly?
Okay.
I don't want to go into the actual specific details of what I actually did today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is. I'll send you these screenshots, and you'll usually reply with something like, "I should just give up now," and I will purposely not answer that for a few minutes just to make you contemplate and give it an option, right? Make it a choice. And your choice is always just to get back on the horse and go, and which is what I love about you. So
well, I think one of the most thank you. One of the most meaningful things that ever happened to me involving you, and I say meaningful positive because there's lots of meaningful, bad, but meaningful positive is when you sent me your old numbers, which you've been hiding, and you said, hey, you're getting close. You're where I was 15 years ago. So you're where I was, 3 years ago, right? You're not that far away, and that was really helpful. But so when we start a sports, athletic, and car show, this is going to be great material. However, it's a business show, buddy. So I want to, and I think one of the reasons it's so meaningful to have Rick here is he and I are on, for 80% of my day, I'm selling, pitching, negotiating, trying to do deal making. 80% of Rick's day, he's on the other side, he's buying, right? So between us, we make a whole person, or a whole mentor, or a whole coach, or a whole advisory service. Because he's buying and I'm selling. And to combine those perspectives, you really can get a window into what makes deals happen. So you got a guy coming to your office here in a few minutes. You talked to him a few times about a position. He's basically selling himself, right? I know what I would do in that situation coming in to pitch you on me getting the job, and I've talked about that a million times in the show, talking about another million times, but let's get inside of your head. What are you looking for? Like, what's the perfect scenario of somebody, he's boots on the ground, walking in your office, right? You've done this a million times. You're going to do it another million times. Walk us through what your decision-making process is, what you're looking for as a buyer for the seller to do.
So in this scenario, which is very similar to every scenario that I personally get, which is few now because we have a great team here. But when we hire very high-level executives, I have to be involved in that decision. But I never look at the resume, ever. I have a high level of what they can do, but the resume and what they say that they've done in the past almost doesn't matter. Everybody can come in with a list of great stuff. I managed 142 people, 68% growth, whatever it is. I really try to see quickly, can they think on their feet? And are they full of shit? And in a way, I kind of want to be pitched too. I believe if they possess some skills that allow us to playfully, kind of bounce off of each other, that's kind of somebody I want to be around. And that's who I would like to, surround myself with here at the company.
But do you look for any micro, like, hey, he didn't ask for coffee because he was nervous. His shoes, looked one size too big. He wasn't tying a Windsor knot in his tie. He wore a tie. He wore a Mickey Mouse shirt. Like, do you look at that stuff, or you just drill in to as if he was naked into the actual?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to give away my secret, and it's not even my secret. It's Walt Disney's secret. I do this. Actually, there isn't an employee at my company that I've interviewed and hired that knows that I did this, but I do it purposely. I will purposely put like a piece of trash or like an empty water bottle right next to the seat that they're sitting in. And I wait to see if they will reach down and pick that up. It's crazy. Like it's something that Walt Disney did, and that they may still continue to do it at Disneyland, but are you thoughtful? Are you thinking about the processes? Do you care is the big thing. Do you care enough to pick that piece of trash up? Because if you don't, it's hard for me to believe that you're going to care enough about really helping us drive this business and being a part of this team. So it's a little thing that I do.
So that's one thing. It's funny because I do something really similar, right? What I do is I sit somebody down and I have on the edge of the table a loaded Desert Eagle, right? Which is a 12 clip 44 Magnum high repeater automatic that they use in the Israeli army. And then I'll just start yelling at them. And I'll see at what point do they reach for the Desert Eagle and start firing off rounds. So it's very similar process. But it's,
I would say that is exactly similar, and because it really, it's shown that they care enough to not kill you by not reaching for the gun. Exactly.
So they come in and you put out a little test for them, and then you talk to them, and you're looking for what are you looking for? A guy coming in to interview, is he pitching himself? You're asking him questions. What's happening?
It is so. When they interview me, they've already gone through probably 2 to 3 people at our company, all of our senior managers that they would be working with on a day-to-day basis. Those individuals here haven't necessarily interviewed him or her more than it's just get to know me 10, 15, 20 minutes. And they'll spend about a half a day here with the team. And then we'll get the team's feedback from just a high level. Did he smell? I mean, does he seem like he could fit in the culture? Not even knowing who this person is, does this look like somebody that we could enjoy being around every day? And then when he gets to me, it's, the questions are, high level, running teams. I try to not even have questions or pre-prepared questions, because I like to just think on my feet, almost interview style, where, I'll know if it's right or not very much from the gut without having these are the 4 questions Zappos asks. I don't like doing that. I'm more like trying to get a feel for the person. And I just believe people in general are good. And when you've been in business long enough, you can tell when somebody's feeding you a line of shit and if they're being sincere. that they can make a difference in your company.
All right. Well, let's try a couple things. You let me know if this is going to work or not for you. So, hey, Rick, I really like what you guys are doing at the company. You know, I'm looking to transition, as you know, to the West Coast because my wife is something, and we really want to get out of the cold. So that sort of made me look around. We ran into each other. I like a lot of things that you're doing out here in your e-commerce company. You know, spend some time on your website. You know, you guys are one of the, certainly from a technology standpoint, you've got you know, all the things you want to see. Analytics. It looks like you're starting to do some AI and machine learning. I like the way that you're using video and custom video, but I do see certainly room for improvement. I don't know if I want to spend, you know, we have an hour together. I think you know what you're doing great. I certainly have a good sense of what you're doing great. You guys are using analytics. You're using Google AdWords as well as anybody else. You've got media that's starting to use custom AI. You're following people around the web, and you're doing a great job promotion. You know you're doing a good job of that. I know you're doing a good job at that. I'd like to focus on some of the things that jump off the page to me that maybe could be improved. Is that something that you'd like to spend some time talking about?
You know, so Oren, first of all, every interview we do here is better than that. Everybody goes deeper than that in pitching and persuading. So it's a good try, pal. Get the out of here. No, that is amazing. You never hear that ever. People are not that polished, and they need to be, I believe, because, you know, they're out hawking their wares and selling themselves in all parts of their life, right? That right there, I mean, that is really good because it told me that you looked at the site, and no, I don't want you to ask me a question about what's the number one thing we can do to improve our website or anything like that. I've told you I looked at the site. I've then told you I not only looked at the site, I did a right-click view source and saw that you have Google Analytics and looked at some of the source code. So you have convinced me that you have went over the site and you believe that there's a way that you can help. So, but I mean, that's gold because you never hear that. That is almost hire on the spot type of stuff.
Yeah.
So since we never get that, let me give you an example. Should I give you an example of how this usually goes?
Yeah.
Arms sweaty, mom's spaghetti. But it's usually a form of that, you know, looking for a way to, you know, grow their career. There's no upper, you know, movement for them where they're at right now if they're currently in a job. They've managed big teams. They've looked at the site. Then they will almost automatically offer. The good ones will almost automatically go right into, you know, here's something I noticed on the site that I believe could use improvement that I would like to start on.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, you know, it's usually nice to hear that somebody's looked at the site and made a decision to offer advice.
So,
but
let me shoot a more aggressive script at you. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm just seeing, you know, if they would really work in this environment. I'm just keeping an eye on time because you actually have an interview. So what if I said something
the guy
like,
that just walked by the way.
Oh, bring him in here. I'll interview him.
Yeah.
All right. So you know, what if we got more aggressive? I mean, I would do this, but, you know, I'm a particular case. So, Rick, you know, hey, I like you. I like your company. Look at me. I'm dressed nicely. You know, look at my Facebook. I got a beautiful family. Look at my police record. There isn't one. Like, hail fellow, well met. It's easy. You know, we have common backgrounds. We work in e-commerce. We know people in common. That's how we got together. You took one look at my resume and go, yeah, whatever, bring this guy in. You know, I'm going to do a good interview. You're going to do a good job of interviewing. It's like, hail fellow, well met. It's easy to like people. And I'm not really sure I want to invest our time here today figuring out how much more we could like each other. We're obviously a good fit, right?
Yeah.
What I find is it's not how much can we like each other. What happens when I let you down? What happens when you let me down? Because is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 2 weeks? It ain't going to be 3 months before I do something, step over my bounds. Talk to your favorite employee that nobody talks to that way. It's your cousin. I don't know. I didn't know that, right? I fire your cousin, right, because they're not performing. I leave the door open, right? If somebody comes in and steals something, I'm human, but you're human too. What I'm looking for is for you to understand my behaviors when I get mad, when I do things wrong, right? When things hit a low, do I show up? But I want to know the same thing about you, right? When you do something wrong, right? Do you run a wrong promotion, right? But I'm the one that clicked the buy button, but you're the one who told me to do it. Do you cop to that? Do we talk about it? Or does that go in the anger bank? I just like to know more about how the behavior is when things go wrong, because I won't get visibility into that today. We can love each other to death, but if I choose you and you choose me and we decide to go forward together and create something great, will we last more than 3 months? That's what I'd like to talk about.
That's a very critical question. I love it. I mean, and I don't know, what do you want me to say, Oren? You're the master at this stuff. It is, that's beautiful. That's artful. It is, if this blinds thing doesn't work out, I'm taking it, I'm running with it, and I'll go straight to, CMO at Amazon and just land that job with that dialogue easily. It's, that is so easy. And again, you never see that, A, but B, I'm going into this interview after we're done, and I'm going to actually almost play that role and see if this guy will dance with me in that, because I actually do believe that it's critical. Becoming friends, whether I like you or not, it's great. I can tell like within a few seconds if we can have a conversation together, if this could possibly be interactive. But what it truly is that I'm going to fail, and I'm going to fail big. How do you react to that? Like, what does my life in this company look like when I go out and do those things? I think that's critical. I'll tell you, the most recent way this was played to me was our most recent landscaper we got a few months ago. And this guy, it was very, very similar. It's almost like he had read some books on this, and he didn't ask for the sale. He came out, he gave me the quote. He actually told me the quote would come via email. And before leaving, he basically said, love the yard, would love to be your landscaper. Let's get together after I send you the quote and see if this is the right fit for both of us. And I mean, it was not like, this is how much it is, are you interested? It was very much him playing the side of the pitch game of creating some value for himself and saying, I'm a landscaper. I do great landscaping. You already know that. You read my reviews, on Google. I'm only here because it sounds like you're the type of guy that only brings people in that are 4.9 stars or higher and 100 reviews. So we don't need to talk about any of that. I'm a great landscaper. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts of, what happens when I chop down your olive tree. And this is a $1,200 tree that's now worth $10,000 because it's got 5 years of growth. So very close to that I hired this guy. I hired this guy in my mind before I even got his quote, because that was the kind of level of attention I wanted on our landscape, and that's what I was looking for. So it's really interesting. I know you got to go. I think I would sort of wrap up with this and see if you agree. Like, for me, you and I are in this. I'm a little bit older than you, but I think of us like these old tractors with like Lamborghini tractors with these V12 motors. Like, they're not fancy. They don't have a lot of great electronics. They're not the easiest to drive, but they just got big motors, right? And they just churn through stuff. And in terms of that, it's sort of life experience. Is scripts work, right? Yeah.
As long as they don't feel scripted. So I don't, I know you don't have to prepare a lot for these meetings because you've been in a million of them. You know the scripts. It's like once you know the scripts that work, you can lower your anxiety, lower your intensity, lower the timbre of your voice, and focus on some other things. Scripts work as long as they don't sound like scripts.
It's great. Listen, before I go, let me just ask you a question, Oren. Did you just say Lamborghini tractor? Because there's a Lamborghini tractor today ending on Bring a Trailer auctions.
Exactly. Were you looking at that thing? Oh my God.
No, you thought the same thing I did, which is I know there's a home for this.
There's a home
that says Lamborghini on it, and it's like $8,000. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you kidding? So Don't bid on it, but I'll bring that into our collection. All right. So.
Oh man, that thing is
I
amazing.
don't even know if it runs. I just want the Lamborghini tractor.
I think it
in the
runs.
garage.
I have a photo from when we were in Florence last year of Asher on a Lamborghini tractor because they're still making them today. Like it's like a John Deere. Like we're at the Four Seasons. It's got this giant lawn in the middle of Florence, and they're mowing it. And I'm like.
Lamborghini.
Well, at first I was like, somebody put a Lamborghini sticker on a John Deere tractor.
Right.
Ha ha, I get it. Like putting Nike on combat boots or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like Lamborghini all around. I'm like, is this a Lamborghini? It's a 2018 Lamborghini lawnmower. So anyway, I'm like, hey, can Asher drive it? He's like, oh, your 4-year-old? I'm like, yeah, yes. I let him drive my Lamborghini. He can't drive your tractor, right?
Right.
So anyway. Okay, those are stories for a different day. Hey, Rick, go knock out that interview. Thank you so much for coming here today, and we'll be seeing you as much as possible on the now what is correctly named the Rick Steele Show with Oren Klaff sidekick.
Love it.
All right. If you're trying to scale your company, I saw my name tag on for my event. That's me, Oren Klaff. If you're trying to scale your company, really understand marketing, really understand the consumer behavior and how to grow a company so you don't have to be there every single minute of the day like I do, that's Rick Steele. You want to know how to pitch, script, narrative structure, that's Oren Klaff. All right, we'll see you next time. This has been the Oren Klaff Project.